The alien ship quietly landed in an isolated field outside a small town in Iowa, unnoticed by most. It was night, and only a few stars shone dimly above. The spaceship, sleek and silver, rested silently on the grass, illuminated faintly by moonlight. Captain Arvin stood at the viewport, looking out at the unfamiliar landscape. He was tall and slender, with skin the color of twilight and eyes that reflected curiosity mixed with caution. Around him, his crew moved silently, preparing to step outside. They had come to learn about Earth and its inhabitants, known as humans. Their mission was simple: observe, learn, and understand. On the other side of town, Jake Simmons worked late in his small laboratory. He was young, passionate, and deeply fascinated by space and the possibility of other life forms. Tonight, he was checking his equipment that monitored strange signals from the sky. Jake glanced at his screens and frowned. Something was unusual. The signals indicated a presence very close, just beyond the town's limits. Unable to resist his curiosity, Jake grabbed a flashlight and his small notebook. He quietly left the lab, stepping into his old pickup truck parked outside. The town was asleep, lights turned off, and curtains drawn. Unaware of the visitors who had just arrived, Jake drove along a dirt road, his heart beating faster with excitement and anxiety. As he approached the field, he saw a faint silver glow ahead. He parked his truck and stepped outside, the cool night air hitting his face. Taking cautious steps, he moved toward the glow, his flashlight cutting through the darkness. From inside the spaceship, Captain Arvin saw the bright beam of light approaching. Concern filled him. Was this a threat? His crew became alert, ready to protect themselves if necessary. The spaceship's door quietly opened, a gentle ramp extending to the ground. Captain Arvin and two crew members stepped outside carefully. They stood still, observing Jake, who stopped suddenly at the sight of them. Jake's eyes widened in shock and awe. Before him stood beings clearly from another world, their forms illuminated softly by the ship's lights. "Hello," Jake said cautiously, raising his hand slightly in greeting. "My name is Jake. I'm human." Captain Arvin looked at Jake, uncertain of his intentions. Jake's slow movements were misunderstood. To the aliens, his raised hand holding an object seemed threatening. Arvin, driven by instinct to protect his crew, reacted immediately. "Stop," Captain Arvin commanded sharply in his own language. Jake did not understand. Confusion filled Jake's face. He tried to lower his flashlight and show he was peaceful. "Wait, I mean no harm," Jake pleaded. But the aliens didn't understand his words, believing they were under attack. One of Arvin's crew members activated a defensive device. A sudden pulse of energy burst forth, striking Jake instantly. The young scientist fell to the ground, silent and unmoving. Realization quickly washed over the aliens as they saw Jake's body lying still. Captain Arvin approached cautiously, remorse already filling him. He knelt beside Jake, realizing too late that the human was unarmed and innocent. The object Jake held was simply a harmless flashlight. "We have made a grave mistake," Captain Arvin said softly, sadness evident in his voice. His crew stood silent, deeply disturbed. Their mission had been peaceful, intended to build understanding and trust. Instead, their actions had ended in tragedy. Slowly, the aliens carried Jake's body back toward their ship, gently laying him inside. Captain Arvin decided they must face the consequences and learn more about these humans immediately. They had clearly misunderstood and underestimated humanity. Before dawn broke over the small town, the spaceship quietly lifted into the sky, leaving behind an empty field and Jake's abandoned truck, unaware of the impact their actions would soon cause. The aliens felt a heavy weight of guilt. As morning came, the people of the small Iowa town would awaken to discover something strange had happened. Jake's disappearance would spark questions and concern, eventually reaching far beyond the sleepy town. Captain Arvin sat heavily in his chair aboard the ship, looking down at Earth as it became smaller in the distance. They needed to understand humans quickly. He knew deep inside that they had severely underestimated the people of this planet. The regret he felt was heavy and deep, and he feared what consequences their tragic misunderstanding might bring. Morning sunlight gently touched the roofs and fields of the small Iowa town, slowly waking the residents. Word spread quickly about Jake Simmons' disappearance. Friends and family searched everywhere, but Jake was nowhere to be found. The only clue was his abandoned truck near the edge of town. The police soon arrived, led by Sheriff Laura Mason. Laura was kind, careful, and deeply respected by the town. She stood quietly beside Jake's truck, looking at the dirt road, trying to make sense of the situation. Around her, officers carefully examined the ground for clues. "This doesn't make sense," Laura said softly, worry clear in her eyes. Jake Simmons was known and liked by everyone. His disappearance without any explanation made no sense at all. As Laura stood by the road, a black SUV approached slowly. The vehicle stopped, and two people stepped out. A woman in a sharp suit and a serious-looking man came toward her. The woman introduced herself as Ambassador Linda Carter, sent by the government to investigate strange events reported by satellites overnight. "Sheriff Mason, we believe something very unusual happened here," Ambassador Carter explained gently but firmly. Laura listened carefully as Linda showed her images from satellite cameras, showing strange lights and an unknown object landing and leaving the area. Laura felt shocked and concerned, realizing something incredible and potentially dangerous had happened. The townspeople soon learned of the alien visitation and Jake's tragic fate. Fear and confusion spread quickly, mixed with sadness and anger. Many questions arose, and Ambassador Carter assured everyone she would find answers. On board their ship, the aliens anxiously watched Earth's reaction. Captain Arvin and his crew monitored human broadcasts, stunned by the swift and unified response of Earth's people. Humans were clearly organized, intelligent, and resilient. Arvin knew they had made a mistake, and it was vital they understood more about these humans as quickly as possible. Back on Earth, Linda Carter prepared a message intended for the alien visitors. Broadcasted into space, her words were clear and firm. Humans demanded an explanation, but she also stressed humanity's wish for peace. "We seek understanding," Linda stated calmly, her voice strong but kind. "But we also demand respect and answers." Captain Arvin and his crew received the broadcast. Listening carefully, they felt relief mixed with anxiety. Arvin decided they must reply honestly, admitting their tragic mistake. With great care, the aliens crafted a response. Their first direct communication with humans. The message reached Ambassador Carter's team soon after. It explained how a misunderstanding had led to Jake's death, expressing deep sorrow and regret. Arvin requested permission to meet human representatives to offer apologies and prevent further tragedies. Ambassador Carter consulted with her team and government officials. After careful consideration, they agreed. A cautious meeting was planned, far from public eyes, on neutral ground in a remote mountain area. Earth's delegation included Ambassador Carter, Sheriff Mason, scientist Dr. Sophia Turner, and military advisor General Eric Lawson. Captain Arvin landed his ship gently on the designated mountain clearing. Stepping outside slowly with his crew, Arvin felt deep anxiety mixed with hope. Before him stood the humans, waiting calmly but cautiously. Linda Carter stepped forward carefully. "Captain Arvin, we appreciate your honesty. However, trust must be built slowly." Arvin nodded respectfully. "We deeply regret what happened. We wish to understand and ensure it never happens again." As the meeting progressed, humans carefully asked questions about Xylox culture, their technology, and their reasons for visiting Earth. Arvin answered honestly, hoping his openness would help rebuild trust. General Eric Lawson remained serious, but was clearly impressed by the Xylox's advanced technology. He cautioned Ambassador Carter privately that humanity needed to be careful, understanding the importance of strength and caution in these delicate interactions. The meeting ended with cautious optimism. Ambassador Carter agreed to continue peaceful conversations, and Captain Arvin promised full transparency. Both groups departed, knowing there was still much work ahead to build trust. Back in the small Iowa town, Sheriff Mason shared updates with the worried townspeople. While sadness lingered over Jake's loss, there was cautious hope that understanding could lead to peace. Jake Simmons became a symbol of humanity's first meaningful contact with another civilization, reminding everyone how quickly misunderstandings could lead to tragedy. Above Earth, Captain Arvin reflected on the powerful resilience and unity humans had shown. His regret remained strong, but he hoped their honesty and openness could heal the wounds they had caused and lay a foundation for a peaceful future together. In the weeks following their cautious first meeting, the humans and the Xylocs began a careful exchange of information. Ambassador Linda Carter oversaw the diplomatic process, working tirelessly to keep communications open and peaceful. The alien leader, Captain Arvin, showed sincere regret and openness, which gradually softened human anger. Dr. Sophia Turner, a dedicated scientist, eagerly studied Xylocs technology and biology, fascinated by what humans could learn. Sophia was kind, intelligent, and deeply respected for her careful and thoughtful approach. She and her colleague, engineer Kyle Brooks, worked long hours to understand the advanced devices the Xylocs cautiously shared. On the Xyloc ship orbiting Earth, Captain Arvin closely observed Earth's response to the exchange of information. Humans were impressively quick to adapt and learn, even surprising Arvin at times. He realized humans had a remarkable talent for innovation and adaptation that his people had underestimated. As both groups learned more about each other, trust slowly built. However, not everyone was satisfied. Back on Xylocs, some were deeply worried. They saw humans as dangerous, unpredictable, and potentially threatening. A faction of Xylocs commanders quietly decided they needed to act before humanity became too strong. Meanwhile, on Earth, General Eric Lawson remained watchful. While he appreciated the diplomatic efforts, his main responsibility was Earth's safety. Eric studied every detail of Xylocs' technology, seeking weaknesses and strengths, preparing quietly for any threat. His caution balanced Ambassador Carter's hopefulness, ensuring Earth remained vigilant. One quiet afternoon, Dr. Sophia Turner was examining a device provided by the Xylocs when she received a troubling message. A secret Xylocs warning from Captain Arvin revealed that a group from his homeworld planned to disrupt peace talks and harm Earth's infrastructure. Sophia urgently contacted Ambassador Carter and General Lawson. The trio quickly gathered in a secure room discussing the shocking news. General Lawson suggested immediate preparations to defend Earth from any potential attack. Ambassador Carter agreed, feeling deeply disappointed but determined to keep peace if possible. Sophia offered her help to urgently strengthen Earth's defenses. Kyle Brooks, alongside Sophia, worked rapidly, enhancing Earth's existing defensive systems. Kyle was skilled, determined, and unafraid of hard work. Together, they developed modifications that would provide effective protection against Xylocs technology. Every moment counted, and the entire human team worked tirelessly. Driven by urgency and determination, Captain Arvin watched anxiously from his orbiting ship, deeply worried and guilty. His crew urged him to intervene directly, but he hesitated, concerned about causing further misunderstanding. Arvin felt a heavy responsibility. He had brought his people to Earth, and now he feared that the peace he had hoped to build might shatter into violence again. Then, early one morning, Earth's radar systems picked up approaching Xyloc ships. They moved swiftly toward major cities, intent on crippling Earth's vital infrastructure. General Lawson quickly activated Earth's enhanced defenses. Bright pulses of energy rose swiftly from the ground, carefully calculated to neutralize the wise incoming threat without causing unnecessary harm. Humans everywhere watched anxiously, holding their breath. The Xylocs attackers were stunned by humanity's quick response and the strength of their defenses. Their ships faltered and stalled in midair, rendered powerless by Kyle and Sophia's rapid preparations. Within minutes, the attackers were defeated. Their vessels gently guided down by human technology. Ambassador Carter swiftly contacted Captain Arvin, clearly explaining humanity's decisive but non-violent defense. Arvin felt deep relief but also immense shame for what his people had attempted. He immediately reached out to the Xylox government, demanding accountability and a clear statement of peace. Back on Earth, General Lawson carefully handled the Xylox, prisoners ensuring their fair treatment. The captured aliens expressed shock and regret, amazed by human mercy and restraint. Ambassador Carter explained calmly, "We wish for peace, not conflict. Let this show we can defend ourselves but prefer friendship." Captain Arvin landed on Earth shortly after, publicly apologizing for the actions of his people. Speaking clearly and honestly, he declared, "We have underestimated humanity's strength, intelligence, and compassion. We deeply regret our mistake and hope to repair this bond." The humans accepted Arvin's apology cautiously but sincerely. They recognized the potential for friendship despite the serious setbacks. Jake Simmons' memory remained strong, reminding both sides of the importance of communication, respect, and peace. The Xylox attackers, feeling deep remorse, pledged their cooperation to restore trust between the two civilizations. Slowly, a cautious yet stronger bond began to form, built on lessons learned through hardship and misunderstanding. Captain Arvin knew the road ahead remained challenging, but he held deep hope. Together, he believed humans and Xylox could build a future defined by mutual respect, peace, and understanding. In the months following the Xylox attack, Earth slowly returned to a sense of cautious normalcy. Ambassador Linda Carter and Captain Arvin continued their careful conversations, building trust step by step. Humanity remained watchful but hopeful, determined to ensure the peace was genuine and lasting. Dr. Sophia Turner and Kyle Brooks worked closely with Xylox scientists who had pledged their cooperation after the failed attack. Together, they developed new technologies, merging human creativity with Xylox efficiency. Their work was exciting, full of promise, and gave hope to everyone involved. Captain Arvin became a frequent visitor to Earth, always respectful and thoughtful. He deeply regretted his people's past mistakes and did everything possible to demonstrate goodwill. Slowly, the people of Earth began to see Arvin not as an alien invader, but as a true partner for peace, yet some fear and distrust still lingered. General Eric Lawson regularly reminded Ambassador Carter to remain cautious. Eric deeply believed in peace, but he also understood the importance of strength and preparedness. Earth's defense systems continued to grow stronger under his careful guidance. One day, an unexpected invitation arrived from Xylox. Humans were invited to visit Xylox, to see their homeworld, and further build mutual understanding. Ambassador Carter discussed the invitation carefully with Eric Lawson, Dr. Sophia Turner, and Kyle Brooks. They agreed that such a visit could significantly strengthen peace, but needed careful preparation. After much planning, Ambassador Carter, Sophia, Kyle, and a small delegation boarded Captain Arvin's ship. As they traveled through space, the humans marveled at the wonders outside their viewport, their hearts filled with excitement and curiosity. Upon landing on Xylox, the humans were greeted warmly yet cautiously. Xylox was a stunningly beautiful world, vibrant with colors and sounds unfamiliar but breathtaking. Tall, elegant buildings lined clean streets, and lush gardens were everywhere. Ambassador Carter and her team were amazed, deeply impressed by Xylox's careful balance of technology and nature. The Xylox leaders welcomed the humans warmly. Captain Arvin spoke first, introducing Ambassador Carter with respect and admiration. He emphasized humanity's incredible resilience, innovation, and compassion, qualities his people now deeply respected. Sophia and Kyle soon found themselves in advanced Xylox laboratories, engaging in enthusiastic discussions and collaborative projects. They discovered new possibilities for medicine, energy, and space travel, thrilling both sides with potential advancements. Despite the warmth of their welcome, Ambassador Carter remained vigilant. She gently reminded Captain Arvin that trust was still fragile and needed careful nurturing. Arvin agreed wholeheartedly, promising full transparency and openness. Back on Earth, General Lawson continued monitoring the delegation's visit closely. He stayed in constant communication with Ambassador Carter, ensuring everyone's safety. His cautious approach reassured humanity, allowing them to embrace the Xylox visit with hope rather than fear. During the visit, Ambassador Carter and Captain Arvin addressed a Xylox gathering together. They shared the tragic story of Jake Simmons, highlighting how misunderstanding had caused unnecessary suffering. They stressed the importance of communication, openness, and respect between all intelligent beings. The Xylox citizens listened carefully, deeply moved by the story. They began to understand the seriousness of their initial mistake and the remarkable mercy and resilience humans had shown in response. Jake Simmons' name became well known on Xylox, a powerful symbol of the need for mutual respect and careful understanding. As the visit concluded, Ambassador Carter and her delegation prepared to return to Earth, their hearts filled with hope and optimism. They had seen firsthand the genuine regret and deep desire for peace among the Xylox. Before leaving, Captain Arvin privately expressed his deep gratitude to Ambassador Carter. "Your forgiveness and strength have changed us," he said sincerely. "You have shown us a better way." Ambassador Carter smiled warmly. "Peace takes courage from both sides. We have much work ahead, but I believe we can achieve it together." Returning home, the humans brought exciting news of their successful visit, further strengthening Earth's hope for peace. The alliance between Earth and Xylox grew stronger. Built firmly on trust, understanding, and mutual respect. Captain Arvin continued visiting Earth, always warmly welcome now. His genuine regret had turned into meaningful action, changing the relationship between their two civilizations profoundly. Humans and Xylox began regular exchanges, fostering deep bonds of friendship and collaboration. Jake Simmons' tragic death, once a source of pain and anger, had become a powerful reminder to both civilizations of the importance of empathy, careful communication, and cooperation. Together, humanity and Xylox move forward into an exciting future, learning from past mistakes and embracing a new era defined by peace, mutual respect, and shared progress. After the successful visit to Xylox, things began to change quickly. On Earth, the news of the peaceful trip and the growing friendship between humans and Xylox was shared everywhere. People were still cautious, but they felt more hopeful than before. Trust was not fully formed, but it was beginning to grow. In Washington, Ambassador Linda Carter gave a speech at a global meeting. She shared how the visit to Xylox had gone well and that the Xylox leaders were sincere. She spoke about the new joint projects and how humans and Xylox were building something meaningful together. Her words gave many people comfort. Dr. Sophia Turner and Kyle Brooks continued to work with the Xylox science team. They set up a new research station in orbit around Earth where both humans and Xylox could work together. It was a place of learning and cooperation. Every day, new discoveries were made, and people from both worlds began to understand each other better. Captain Arvin often visited the station. He worked closely with Kyle and Sophia, always polite and focused. He took part in many meetings and never missed a chance to apologize again for what happened to Jake Simmons. His words, and more importantly his actions, slowly earned the trust of those who once feared him. One day, during a routine data exchange, Sophia noticed something strange. One of the Xylox communication signals did not match the usual patterns. She shared her concerns with Kyle, and they started to investigate. After several hours, they discovered that someone from another Xylox ship was secretly watching the human systems. Kyle quickly informed Ambassador Carter and General Eric Lawson. The military teams moved fast, scanning for any unknown ships. They found one hidden near the far side of Earth's moon. It had been silently gathering information. General Lawson called a high-level emergency meeting. The Xylox team on board. The research station was shocked and said they knew nothing about the hidden ship. Captain Arvin looked truly surprised and concerned. He immediately offered to help investigate. Ambassador Carter sent a message to the Xylox leaders asking for an explanation. Hours later, the response came. The Xylox government admitted that the ship was from a small group that did not support the peace. They were afraid humans were becoming too strong. The ship had acted alone. General Lawson and Ambassador Carter agreed not to strike. Instead, they demanded the ship leave the area and end its mission. The Xylox leaders sent orders, and the ship quickly moved away, ending its watch. Still, the incident caused tension. People around the world started to question the peace again. News channels talked about the secret ship and if the Xylox could really be trusted. Fear returned to the streets, and some people called for an end to all contact. Captain Arvin appeared on Earth television for the first time. In front of millions, he spoke calmly and clearly. We Xylox are not perfect, but we believe in peace and friendship with your world. Please do not judge us by the actions of the few. Judge us by the ones who work with you every day. His message reached many hearts. Though some remained unsure, others began to believe again. To show unity, a new joint project was announced. A special mission with both humans and Xylox would go to explore a nearby planet, one that might hold signs of life. It would be the first time both species would work side by side in deep space. Dr. Sophia Turner, Kyle Brooks, and a young Xylox scientist named Nara would lead the mission. Nara was bright and gentle, curious about humans. She had studied Earth's languages and culture and wanted to learn more. As the mission team trained together, bonds began to form. They laughed, shared stories, and began to feel like a true team. The mission became more than just science. It became a symbol of hope. Back on Earth, Jake Simmons' parents were invited to a special event. A monument was built in his memory at the launch site of the new mission. It showed a statue of Jake looking up at the stars with a simple message, "In memory of a dreamer." Mrs. Simmons spoke through tears. Jake always believed in peace, in friendship with the stars. Thank you for honoring him. The mission launched under the eyes of the world. The ship rose slowly into the sky, carrying humans and Xylox together, bound for a distant planet. As it disappeared into space, people watched with quiet hope. Peace was still fragile, and danger could still return. But for the first time in a long while, both humans and Xylox believed in something better. They had taken another step forward together, carrying the memory of Jake Simmons and the dream he believed in. The joint human-Xylox mission moved deeper into space each day. The ship, named Unity Star, carried hope, trust, and the memory of a shared past. On board were humans and Xylox, working together for the first time in deep space. Dr. Sophia Turner led the science team. She spent her time studying the new planet they were approaching. Kyle Brooks managed the engineering systems and helped keep the ship running smoothly. Beside them was Nara, the Xylox scientist who quickly became a friend to many. Unity Star flew silently past stars and dust clouds. The journey was long but peaceful. The team shared meals, stories, and laughter. Even with their differences, they found common ground in their love for learning and exploration. The new planet came into view after 3 weeks. It was beautiful, with wide blue oceans and thick green forests. From orbit, the planet looked calm, untouched by war or cities. It was a perfect place to begin a peaceful study mission. Sophia and Nara led a small landing team, including Kyle and 2 Xylox crew members. They touched down near a wide river under a pale orange sky. The air was clean, and the plants swayed gently in the breeze. It felt peaceful, almost like Earth. They set up a small research camp. Sophia began collecting samples. Nara studied the air and plants. Kyle checked the equipment while watching the area carefully. Everything seemed safe. But they stayed alert. As the team worked, Nara found something unusual. Some rocks gave off a faint energy, unlike anything they had seen before. She called Sophia and Kyle over. "These stones are not natural," Nara said quietly. "They hold energy, but not from this world." Sophia touched one gently. It felt warm. "Someone was here before us," she said. They sent data back to Unity Star. More scans showed signs of ancient structures under the surface. The planet was not empty. It had a hidden history. Captain Arvin, watching from orbit, called a meeting. They needed to move slowly and carefully. If there was another intelligent species, they must show respect. The team began exploring the underground. Ruins. They found old walls and symbols that no one could read. Some rooms glowed with the same energy as the strange stones. Then one day the camp sensors picked up movement nearby. Sophia, Kyle, and Nara went to investigate. In a clearing, they saw them tall beings with soft glowing skin and bright, clear eyes. The beings looked peaceful but strong. They watched the humans and Xylox quietly. Sophia took a slow step forward. She raised her hand, open and empty. "We come in peace," she said gently. One of the beings stepped forward. It placed a hand on its chest, then pointed at Sophia's heart. Though no words were spoken, the message was clear. They understood each other's intentions. Communication began with gestures and shared tools. Over several days, the team and the native beings learned to understand simple ideas. These beings, later called the Ilari, had lived deep underground for many years. Hiding from the outside world. The Ilari told their story. Long ago, visitors from space brought war and pain. Since then, the Ilari had hidden from the sky, fearing all outsiders. But now, seeing the human and Xylox team working together, they felt hope again. Sophia promised the Ilari that they meant no harm. She invited them to the research camp to share knowledge. Nara explained the history of Xylox and their own journey of learning to trust. As the days passed, the Ilari became more open. They shared knowledge about the planet's plants, animals, and history. In return, the humans and Xylox showed their technology and peaceful goals. One night, under the orange sky, the Ilari, humans, and Xylox sat together around a shared fire. Stories were told through music, light, and movement. It was a quiet moment of peace between three different worlds. Back on Earth, people watched live broadcasts with amazement. The fear that had once filled their hearts was replaced with wonder. Children asked questions, schools taught about the Ilari, and hope grew stronger every day. Captain Arvin sent a message to the Xylox leaders. "We found a people who had every reason to fear, but they gave us a chance. We must always honor that trust." General Lawson also gave a short message to the world. "Peace is built one step at a time. We will protect it and we will cherish it." The discovery of the Ilari changed everything. It reminded everyone that the galaxy was full of stories, some painful, some full of hope. But with care, respect, and honesty, peace was always possible. As the Unity Star prepared for its return, the team left behind a small outpost. Humans, Xylox, and Ilari will continue to work there, side by side. Sophia looked out at the planet. One last time. "This is just the beginning," she whispered. And she was right. A new future had started, one built not on fear or war, but on understanding and unity. The Unity Star returned to Earth after its long and peaceful journey. The crew, both human and Xylox, were welcomed home with cheers, smiles, and hope. News of the Ilari and the peaceful meeting had reached every corner of the planet. It felt like a new chapter had begun for all. At the landing site, families, leaders, and scientists gathered. People held signs that said unity, peace, and thank you. Children waved flags, and reporters shared the event live around the world. For the first time, humans, Xylox, and Ilari were together on Earth. Dr. Sophia Turner stepped out of the ship with a smile. Beside her walked Nara and Kyle, tired but proud. Captain Arvin followed, his head held high. He had seen how much had changed since that first terrible mistake. and he was grateful Ambassador Linda Carter greeted them all warmly. "You have done something historic," she said. "You brought three worlds together," Sophia nodded. "It wasn't always easy, but it was worth it." A few days later, a special world event was held in New York City. Leaders and citizens from every continent attended. The Ilari sent their own representatives, glowing softly and walking gracefully through the large halls of the United Nations. The event was broadcast live. Captain Arvin stood before the people and spoke from the heart. "We came to your world in fear and misunderstanding. We hurt someone who only wanted peace. And for that, we are truly sorry. But you showed us mercy, strength, and wisdom. You showed us what it means to be human." The room fell silent, many people wiping away tears. Jake Simmons' parents were there too. They were honored guests. A large screen behind them showed Jake's photo. Smiling up at the stars, Mrs. Simmons walked slowly to the microphone. Her voice was soft but steady. Jake believed in peace. He believed we weren't alone in the universe, and he dreamed of meeting others. We lost him too soon. But if his story helped save lives, helped build this peace, then he didn't die in vain. People in the audience stood and clapped. Many cried. The moment was honest and emotional, reminding everyone of the cost of mistakes and the power of forgiveness. As part of the event, a new program was announced. It would be called the Galactic Unity Initiative. Humans, Xylox, and Ilari would work together to explore space, help each other, and protect peace. It would include science, education, and shared defense. Sophia, Kyle, and Nara were named as leaders of the program. They would train young minds from all three species, showing them how to build a better future. New schools opened, where humans studied Xylox engineering and Xylox learned Earth history. Ilari shared their deep connection with nature and balance. These schools quickly became symbols of hope, places where the next generation could grow up without fear. General Eric Lawson continued to lead Earth's defense team, but now he worked closely with Xylox officers and Ilari guardians. He taught strength through calm, reminding everyone that peace must be protected, not just hoped for. 1 year after the Unity Star mission, a new ship was built. It was larger, stronger, and designed by all three species. It was named the Simmons Voyager, in memory of the man who had brought them together. Without ever knowing it, at the launch ceremony, people from all worlds came together again. As the ship lifted off into the stars, everyone looked up, not with fear, but with pride. Captain Arvin returned to Xylox, where he became a peace ambassador. He visited different planets, telling the story of Earth and how humans had surprised him with their courage and kindness. Sophia and Nara became close friends. They traveled between planets, helping set up research centers and education programs. Kyle continued to design new tools, always finding ways to mix human creativity with Xylox precision. Back on Earth, the statue of Jake Simmons was moved to a special place near the United Nations building. People visited every day, laying flowers and leaving notes. Some simply stood quietly, thinking about what one life could mean. Peace was never easy, but it was possible. That was the message the world now believed. From one tragic mistake came a story of growth, friendship, and healing. The stars above no longer seemed cold and far away. Now they were full of light and connection. And as more ships left Earth to explore the galaxy, the people of Earth remembered those first steps. They remembered Jake, and they remembered the lesson: never judge by fear, always choose understanding, and never forget what humans can do when they choose to lead with heart.